Sophia Marcelli was once a sharp, powerful woman, until her marriage to Adrian turned her into a ghost in her own home. Years of living in a fog, humiliated and controlled by secret pills that made her forget who she was. But one look from Victor DeLuca, the most dangerous man in the family, awakened something inside her. When the brutal truth explodes into the open, Sophia must choose: remain the victim everyone expects, or become the force no one saw coming. Like and comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Now, let me tell you how it all began. The crystal chandelier above the dining table cast sharp shadows across Sophia's plate. She stared at the untouched food, some kind of fish, expertly prepared, completely tasteless to her. Everything tasted like nothing lately. Everything felt like nothing. Adrian sat at the opposite end of the table, 10 feet of polished mahogany between them. He was scrolling through his phone, the blue light washing over his handsome face. He hadn't looked at her once since they sat down 20 minutes ago. "I was thinking," Sophia began, her voice coming out softer than she intended. "Maybe we could—" "Not now." Adrian didn't look up. "I'm dealing with something." She closed her mouth, nodded to no one, picked up her wine glass and took a small sip, then set it down carefully, precisely in the same spot. The fog in her head made everything feel like she was moving through water. When had it gotten this bad? She couldn't remember. The days blurred together now, each one bleeding into the next with no distinction, no color. She knew there was a time before this, a time when she'd been different, sharper. But trying to remember that version of herself was like trying to hold smoke. "You should eat," Adrian said, still not looking at her. "You're getting too thin." Sophia looked down at her body as if seeing it for the first time. Was she? She couldn't tell anymore. Her clothes hung differently than they used to, but everything about her felt distant, disconnected. She picked up her fork, put it down, picked it up again. Adrian stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "I have to make a call. Will you be back?" But he was already gone, disappearing into his study and closing the door with a firm click that might as well have been a lock. Sophia sat alone at the table, surrounded by expensive furniture and fresh flowers, and the kind of luxury that should have made her happy, should have made her feel something. She stood slowly, steadying herself against the table as a wave of dizziness passed through her. That had been happening more lately. The dizzy spells, the gaps in her memory, the way hours would vanish and she'd find herself in a different room with no recollection of walking there. Her phone buzzed. A reminder. Family gathering, DeLuca Estate, 7 p.m. Sophia stared at the screen. What day was it? Saturday. The monthly family dinner. Adrian's family, though they'd never felt like hers. The DeLucas were old money, old power, old secrets. They'd tolerated her marriage to Adrian because her own family name had carried weight once, before her father's business collapsed and left her with nothing but a prestigious last name and a desperate need for security. Adrian had offered that security. A marriage of convenience, he'd called it. She'd been 23 and foolish enough to think convenience might grow into something more. That was 6 years ago. She was 29 now, and the only thing that had grown was the distance between them. In their bedroom, Sophia opened her closet and stared at the rows of designer dresses. Adrian liked her to look perfect at these gatherings. Polished, presentable, a proper wife. She pulled out a navy dress, elegant, conservative, forgettable, just like her. As she changed, she caught sight of herself in the full-length mirror. Her reflection startled her. When had her cheekbones gotten so pronounced? When had her eyes started looking so empty? There was a knock at the door. "Ma'am?" Maria, their housekeeper, stood in the doorway with a glass of water and 2 small pills on a silver tray. "Your vitamins." Sophia took them automatically. She'd been taking these vitamins for years. Adrian insisted on them. Good for her health, he said. Good for her stress. She swallowed them dry, handed back the glass. "Thank you, Maria." The older woman's eyes lingered on her face for a moment, something like concern flickering there, but she said nothing, just nodded and left. Sophia finished dressing, applied makeup to hide the shadows under her eyes, and went downstairs to wait for Adrian. The drive to the DeLuca estate took 40 minutes. Adrian spent the entire time on his phone, typing furiously, occasionally muttering under his breath. Sophia watched the city lights blur past her window and tried to remember the last time they'd had a real conversation. The DeLuca mansion loomed ahead, a sprawling estate that spoke of generations of wealth and power. Cars lined the circular driveway, Mercedes, Bentleys, a Maserati that belonged to Adrian's cousin Marco. "Remember," Adrian said as they pulled up, his first words to her since they'd left home. "Don't embarrass me tonight. Keep your head clear." Keep your head clear. As if the fog wasn't something he'd helped create. As if she had any control over it anymore. Inside, the gathering was already in full swing. The DeLuca family filled the grand living room. Adrian's parents, his siblings, cousins, various aunts and uncles. All of them beautiful, successful, dangerous in ways Sophia had never quite understood. Adrian's mother, Francesca, air-kissed her cheeks without any warmth. "Sophia, how nice." "Hello, Francesca. You look tired, dear. Are you sleeping well?" "I'm fine, thank you." Francesca's smile didn't reach her eyes. It never did. She'd made it clear from the beginning that Sophia wasn't good enough for her son, not connected enough, not ruthless enough, not enough. Adrian abandoned her almost immediately, gravitating toward his father and the other men clustered near the bar. Sophia found herself alone, clutching a champagne glass she didn't remember picking up. She drifted toward the periphery of the room, trying to make herself invisible. It was a skill she'd perfected over the years. "Sophia." She turned. Elena, Adrian's younger sister, stood beside her. Unlike the others, Elena had always been kind to her, distant but kind. "How are you holding up?" Elena asked quietly. "I'm fine." "You always say that." Elena's eyes searched her face. "Are you really?" Sophia opened her mouth to deliver another pleasant lie, but something in Elena's expression stopped her. For just a moment, she wanted to tell the truth. Wanted to say, "No, I'm not fine. I can't remember who I used to be. I feel like I'm disappearing and I don't know how to stop it." But before she could speak, the room shifted. Conversations quieted. People turned toward the entrance. Victor DeLuca had arrived. Sophia had met Adrian's uncle exactly twice before. Once at their wedding, where he'd shaken her hand and looked at her like he could see through skin and bone to whatever was underneath. And once at a family dinner 2 years ago, though that memory was hazy, lost in the fog. But she remembered the basics. Victor was the real power in the DeLuca family. Adrian's father might hold the title, but Victor held the strings. He was in his late 40s, silver threading through his dark hair, his face all sharp angles and harder edges. He wore his authority like other men wore cologne, subtle but unmistakable. He moved through the room like a shark through water, and everyone parted to let him pass. And then his eyes found hers. Sophia felt it like a physical thing, the weight of his attention. He was across the room, but she could feel him looking at her, really looking, in a way no one had in years. Something flickered in his expression. Surprise, maybe, or recognition. He started toward her. Elena touched her arm. "I should go say hello to—" She disappeared quickly, reading something in the air that Sophia couldn't quite grasp. Victor stopped in front of her. Up close, he was even more intimidating, tall enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. They were dark, almost black, and completely focused on her. "Sophia." His voice was deep, measured. "We haven't properly met. We met at my wedding." That wasn't a meeting, that was a formality. He extended his hand. "Victor DeLuca." She shook it. His grip was firm, warm. "I know who you are." "Do you?" Something in his tone suggested layers she didn't understand. "How have you been?" It was a simple question, a throwaway pleasantry. But the way he asked it, with genuine attention, like her answer actually mattered, made her throat tighten unexpectedly. "I'm well, thank you." His eyes narrowed slightly. "Are you?" No one ever pushed back on her automatic responses. No one ever questioned the pleasant lies. She faltered. The fog in her head seemed thicker suddenly. "Yes, of course." Victor studied her for a long moment. "You don't look well." "I'm sorry?" "You look like you're disappearing." He said it matter-of-factly, without cruelty. Like you're here, but not here. Sophia's heart was beating too fast. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I remember you, Sophia, from the wedding. You were different then, sharper, present. What happened? She wanted to tell him nothing had happened, wanted to smile and change the subject and float away like she always did. But his directness had cracked something open inside her, and words tumbled out before she could stop them. I don't know. I can't. I can't remember being different. Can't or won't. Can't. Her voice broke slightly. Everything's fuzzy. Has been for years. I thought maybe it was just me, just getting older, being tired, but Sophia. Adrian's voice cut through their conversation like a blade. He appeared at her elbow, his hand gripping her arm just a little too tight. I've been looking for you. We were just talking, Victor said evenly. I can see that. Adrian's smile was strained. If you'll excuse us, Uncle, I need to borrow my wife. He steered her away before Victor could respond, his fingers digging into her arm hard enough to leave marks. What the hell was that? Adrian hissed once they were out of earshot. He was just being polite. He doesn't do polite. Stay away from him. Adrian, you're hurting me. He released her arm abruptly, glancing around to make sure no one was watching. Go to the bathroom. Fix your face. You look like you're about to cry. I'm not. Just do it, Sophia. She went. Not because he told her to, but because she needed space to breathe, to think, to process what had just happened. The bathroom was empty. Sophia locked the door and leaned against it, her heart still racing. She looked at herself in the mirror. Victor's words echoed in her head. You look like you're disappearing. Was she? She'd felt it for so long, but never had words for it. And hearing someone else say it, someone who barely knew her, made it suddenly, terrifyingly real. She splashed cold water on her face, careful not to smudge her makeup. Her hands were shaking. When she emerged, the party had moved into the dining room. Sophia found her assigned seat, next to Adrian, of course, at the far end of the table from Victor. Dinner was an elaborate affair. Course after course of exquisite food that Sophia barely tasted. Conversations swirled around her. Business deals, family politics, veiled threats disguised as jokes. She smiled when appropriate, nodded at the right moments, played her role perfectly. But she could feel Victor watching her from the other end of the table. Every time she glanced up, his eyes were there, studying her with an intensity that made her feel exposed and seen all at once. Adrian noticed. His hand found her thigh under the table, squeezing hard enough to hurt. A warning. After dinner, the men retired to the study for cigars and business. The women gathered in the sitting room for coffee and gossip that Sophia had no part in. She sat in a chair by the window, invisible again, letting the conversation wash over her. Heard she's pregnant again. The merger is falling apart. Marco's gambling debts are getting out of hand. Francesca's voice rose above the others. Elena, dear, you really should consider Marco's proposal. His family's connections would be valuable. I'm not interested in Marco, Mother. Interest is irrelevant. This is about what's best for the family. Sophia stared out the window at the manicured gardens, lit by strategically placed lights. She wondered, not for the first time, what her life would have looked like if she'd made different choices. If she'd been braver at 23. If she'd believed she deserved more than security. Sophia? She turned. Francesca was looking at her with barely disguised disdain. I asked if you were feeling well. You seemed distracted. I'm fine, just tired. Francesca's eyes raked over her. You should take better care of yourself. A wife's appearance reflects on her husband. Heat crept up Sophia's neck. Of course. Though I suppose it doesn't matter much anymore. The words hung in the air. The other women had gone quiet, watching. I'm sorry, Sophia asked. Francesca smiled. Nothing, dear. Just that Adrian seems content with the arrangement. That's what matters, isn't it? There was something underneath her words, something Sophia's foggy brain couldn't quite grasp. But it felt like cruelty. Like everyone in the room knew a joke she wasn't in on. She stood abruptly. Excuse me, I need some air. No one tried to stop her. Sophia found herself on the terrace, breathing in the cool night air. The sounds of the party were muffled behind thick windows. Out here, she could almost pretend she was alone. Free. Running away? She spun. Victor stood in the shadows near the door, a glass of whiskey in his hand. I needed air. So did I. He moved to the railing beside her, leaving a respectful distance between them, though I suspect for different reasons. They stood in silence for a moment. Sophia's mind raced, trying to find something to say, some way to fill the quiet. Why were you staring at me during dinner? The words came out before she could stop them. Victor's lips quirked. Was I that obvious? Yes. I was trying to figure something out. What? He turned to face her fully. What they've done to you. Sophia's breath caught. What do you mean? 6 years ago at your wedding, you were vibrant, intelligent. You challenged me during our brief conversation, made me laugh. Now, he gestured at her. Now you're a shadow, so I'm trying to figure out how they broke you. No one broke me. But her voice lacked conviction. Didn't they? Victor took a sip of his whiskey. You can barely look people in the eye. You apologize for existing. You move through the world like you're afraid of taking up space. That's not who you were. Maybe you're remembering wrong. I'm not. Sophia's hands gripped the railing. Why do you care? I don't like waste. And you, Sophia Marcelli, are being wasted. Something in his words cracked open a door she'd kept locked for years. Anger flickered behind it. Real, hot anger. You don't know anything about me. I know enough. I know my nephew is a fool. I know this family has a way of crushing anything soft. And I know you're still in there somewhere, under all the fog. Stop. Sophia's voice shook. Just stop. You don't get to do this. You don't get to show up and tell me I'm broken and act like you see something no one else does. You're part of this family, part of this whole... She gestured wildly at the house behind them. Machine that grinds people down, so don't stand there and pretend you're different. Victor's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Respect, maybe. You're right, he said quietly. I am part of it. I've done things that would horrify you. I'm not a good man, Sophia, but I'm an honest one. And honestly, you deserve better than what you have. What I have is none of your business. Fair enough. He set down his glass. But when you're ready to wake up, when you're ready to fight, and I think that day is coming, whether you know it or not, remember this conversation. Remember that someone saw you. He walked away, leaving her alone on the terrace with her heart pounding and her carefully constructed numbness in pieces around her feet. Sophia stayed outside until the cold seeped through her dress. When she finally went back in, Adrian was ready to leave. He didn't ask where she'd been, didn't seem to care. The drive home was silent. Adrian's jaw was tight, his hands gripping the steering wheel harder than necessary. Inside their house, he finally spoke. What did Victor say to you? Nothing. We just talked. About what? Nothing important. Sophia started toward the stairs. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Adrian grabbed her wrist, spinning her around. Don't lie to me. I'm not... Victor doesn't do small talk. He doesn't waste time on pleasantries. So what did he want? Nothing, Adrian. He was just being polite. His eyes narrowed. You're acting strange. I'm tired. No, you're different. Since when do you talk back to me? Since about an hour ago, Sophia thought. Since someone looked at her like she was real. I'm going to bed. She pulled free and climbed the stairs, feeling Adrian's eyes boring into her back. In their bedroom, she changed into a nightgown and washed her face. In the mirror, she looked the same, but something inside felt different, unstable, like a foundation cracking. Maria appeared with the usual tray. Water, pills. Sophia stared at them. She'd taken these vitamins every night for years. Adrian insisted on them. For her health, for her stress, for her... Ma'am? Maria held out the tray. Sophia took the pills. But instead of swallowing them, she closed her fist around them. Thank you, Maria. After the housekeeper left, Sophia opened her hand and looked at the small white tablets. Just vitamins. That's what Adrian said. what the bottle said. But Victor's words echoed in her head. What they've done to you. She walked to the bathroom and dropped the pills into the toilet, flushed them away. It was a small act of rebellion, probably meaningless, just vitamins after all. But as she climbed into bed, alone, because Adrian was still downstairs, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt awake. The next morning, Sophia woke with a headache, sharp and insistent, pounding behind her eyes. She'd had headaches before, but this was different, more focused, like her brain was working too hard, firing synapses that had been dormant. She showered, dressed, went downstairs. Adrian was already gone. A note on the counter said he had meetings all day. Maria made her breakfast. Sophia ate mechanically, waiting for the usual morning routine. But Maria didn't bring the tray. The vitamins were only at night. The day stretched ahead of her, empty and formless. Usually, Sophia would fill it with meaningless tasks, organizing closets that were already organized, reading books she'd forget within hours, staring at walls. But today the fog seemed thinner, the edges of her thoughts sharper. She found herself in Adrian's study, standing in front of his desk. He kept it locked when he wasn't home. Always had. Why? What was he hiding? The question had never occurred to her before. Or if it had been swept away in the fog. But now it stuck, insistent. Sophia tried the drawer, locked, as expected. She stepped back, her heart racing. What was she doing? Adrian would be furious if he found her snooping, but Adrian was always furious about something. And suddenly, Sophia found she didn't care. She searched the study, looking for a key. Found nothing. The desk was solid mahogany, the lock professional grade. She was about to give up when she noticed something. The bottom drawer didn't sit quite flush with the others. There was a tiny gap, barely visible. Sophia knelt down, peering closer. The drawer had a false bottom. Her hands were shaking as she pulled out the drawer completely, setting it on the floor. And there, tucked into the hollow space beneath, was a folder. Inside were photographs. Sophia's breath stopped. The photos showed Adrian, with a woman, a beautiful brunette Sophia had never seen before. The images were intimate. Adrian's hand on her waist, her lips on his cheek, the two of them laughing together in ways Adrian never laughed with Sophia. There were receipts, too. Hotel rooms, jewelry, flowers. All dated within the last 3 years, and at the bottom of the folder, a handwritten note in unfamiliar script. Can't wait to finally start our real life together. Just a little longer. I love you. See, Sophia sat on the floor, surrounded by evidence of her husband's betrayal, and felt nothing. Or no, not nothing. Relief. Because this explained it. The distance, the coldness, the complete lack of interest in her. He'd never wanted her. He'd wanted what her name used to represent. And when that value expired, so did his patience for the arrangement. But there was something else in the folder. A prescription bottle tucked behind the photos. Sophia pulled it out, read the label. Lorazepam. Take 1 tablet daily to reduce anxiety and improve sleep. But the prescription wasn't in her name. It was in Adrian's, from a doctor she didn't recognize, dated 4 years ago. Her hands were shaking so hard she almost dropped the bottle. She opened it. The pills inside looked exactly like the vitamins she'd been taking every night. What they've done to you. The room spun. Sophia gripped the edge of the desk, trying to breathe, trying to think through the implications crashing down on her. Adrian had been drugging her, for years, keeping her sedated, compliant, out of the way while he built another life with someone else. The fog. The memory loss. The disconnection. It wasn't her. It was him. Rage bloomed in her chest, hot and fierce and more real than anything she'd felt in years. The front door opened. Adrian's voice called out, "Sophia!" Panic flooded through her. He was home early. She wasn't supposed to be in here. Wasn't supposed to know. She shoved everything back into the folder, back into the false drawer, replaced the drawer in the desk. Her hands fumbled with the simple mechanics. Too slow. He was getting closer. Sophia barely made it out of the study before Adrian appeared in the hallway. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Nothing. I was just—" Her mind raced. "Looking for a book." His eyes narrowed. "In my study? I thought you had that novel I wanted to borrow." "I don't read novels." "Right. I forgot. Sorry." Adrian moved past her into the study. Sophia held her breath, waiting for him to notice something out of place, to see what she'd seen, to know that she knew. But he just grabbed a file from his desk and turned back to her. I need to change and head back out. Client dinner. With C? The words slipped out before she could stop them. Adrian went very still. What? Nothing. I meant a client. Of course. His eyes searched her face, looking for something. Are you feeling all right? You seem off. I'm fine. Did you take your vitamins last night? Sophia's heart pounded. Yes. You're sure? Yes, Adrian. I took them. He stared at her for another long moment, then nodded. Good. They're important. For your health. After he left, Sophia went to the bedroom and locked the door. She sat on the bed, her whole body shaking. He'd been drugging her, controlling her, erasing her. And now she knew. The question was, what was she going to do about it? Over the next week, Sophia didn't take a single pill. Each night, Maria brought them. Each night, Sophia pretended to swallow them and flushed them away after Maria left. The fog began to lift, slowly at first, then faster, like waking from a years-long dream. Memories started coming back, things she'd forgotten, conversations, humiliations, moments when Adrian had dismissed her, belittled her, made her feel small. They'd always happened, but the drugs had softened the edges, made them fuzzy and forgettable. Now they came back sharp and clear and devastating. She remembered her own thoughts, too. Who she'd been before the pills. A woman who'd graduated top of her class. Who'd planned to start her own business. Who'd had opinions and fire and dreams. All of it systematically erased. And with the clarity came rage. Pure, focused, burning rage. But Sophia was smart enough not to show it. She played her role. Smiled when Adrian wanted her to smile. Stayed quiet when he wanted silence. Became the ghost he'd created. While inside, she planned. She needed proof. The folder in Adrian's study wasn't enough. She had no legal standing, no resources of her own. Everything was in Adrian's name. The house, the accounts, even her phone plan. She needed help. But who could she trust? Adrian's family certainly wouldn't believe her. Her own family was distant, powerless. The answer came 10 days after she'd stopped taking the pills. Another family dinner at the DeLuca estate. Sophia dressed carefully, applied her makeup with steady hands. She felt different walking into that house. Clear-headed, dangerous. Victor noticed immediately. She saw it in his eyes when they met across the room. Surprise, then something like satisfaction. He approached her during cocktail hour, while Adrian was deep in conversation with his father. You stopped taking them, Victor said quietly. Sophia's breath caught. How did you, your eyes, you're present, actually here, Shah. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. He took a sip of his whiskey. Whatever they were giving you, you stopped, and now you're awake. Sophia glanced around, making sure no one was listening. He's been drugging me for years to keep me manageable. Victor's expression darkened. Adrian? Who else? Do you have proof? Some? Not enough. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. Sophia met his eyes. But I'm not going back to sleep. Good. Victor set down his glass. When you're ready to move, you let me know. I'll help. Why would you help me? Because Adrian's a fool, and fools make mistakes that affect the whole family. Better to cut out the cancer before it spreads. It wasn't exactly a noble reason, but Sophia didn't need noble. She needed practical. There's someone else, she said. A woman. See, he's been with her for years. Victor's jaw tightened. Does he know you know? No. Keep it that way. Gather everything you can. Then we'll make our move. Our move? You didn't think you were doing this alone, did you? Victor leaned closer. Adrian's playing a dangerous game, betraying family trust, hiding assets, drugging his wife to cover up an affair. When this comes out, and it will come out, the family will want blood. Better if we control how and when. Sophia stared at him. You're using me. We're using each other. You want out. I want my nephew to face consequences for his stupidity. We both win. It should have offended her, should have made her feel manipulated, but Victor's honesty was refreshing after years of Adrian's lies. Okay, she said. I'm in. Victor gave her his private number that night. Not his business line, the one he kept for family and associates, but a separate phone that bypassed all the usual channels. Sophia memorized the digits and deleted the text immediately. Call me when you have something, he'd said, or when you need to get out. Whichever comes first. 3 days passed. Sophia played the perfect wife while her mind worked in the background, cataloging everything, planning her next move. Adrian barely noticed the shift in her, too caught up in his own deceptions to see that hers had begun. She started documenting. Every time Adrian left the house, she photographed the contents of his study. The receipts, the hotel confirmations, the love notes from C. She found bank statements showing wire transfers to an account she'd never seen. Jewelry purchases that had never appeared on her fingers. A lease agreement for a condo downtown that wasn't their address. Her husband had built an entire second life, funded by family money, while keeping her sedated and compliant in their home. The drugs were the hardest part to prove. She'd already flushed weeks' worth of pills. The prescription bottle in Adrian's desk was damning, but not conclusive. She needed more. On Thursday morning, after Adrian left for work, Sophia went looking for Maria. She found the housekeeper in the laundry room, folding Adrian's shirts with practiced efficiency. Maria, can I ask you something? The older woman looked up, wariness flickering across her face. Of course, ma'am. How long have you been bringing me those vitamins at night? Maria's hand stilled on the shirt she was folding. I'm not sure. Several years? Who told you to give them to me? Mr. Marcelli. He said they were for your health, that you needed them. Did you ever wonder what they were? Maria's expression shifted. Guilt, maybe, or resignation. It's not my place to wonder, ma'am. But you did wonder. I can see it in your face. The housekeeper looked down at her hands. You changed after you started taking them. You were different before. More alive. The admission hung between them. Maria, I need your help. Ma'am, I can't. Please, just listen. Sophia moved closer, lowering her voice. Those vitamins aren't vitamins. They're sedatives. Adrian's been drugging me to keep me compliant while he... She stopped, choosing her words carefully. While he lives another life. I have proof. But I need more. I need to know where he gets the pills refilled, who prescribes them, everything you can remember about when this started. Maria's eyes widened. Mr. Marcelli would fire me. Or worse. I know. And I wouldn't ask if I had any other option, but you've worked for us for 5 years. You've seen what this has done to me. I'm asking you to help me get free. The older woman was quiet for a long moment, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped the shirt. There's a pharmacy, she finally said, on Columbus Avenue. Mr. Marcelli goes there himself to pick up your prescriptions. He never lets me go, always insists on handling it personally. Do you remember the name? Riverside Pharmacy. I saw it on a bag once. Sophia touched Maria's arm. Thank you. Ma'am, be careful. Mr. Marcelli, when he's angry, he's dangerous. I know. That afternoon, Sophia took a cab to Columbus Avenue. The pharmacy was tucked between a dry cleaner and a coffee shop, nondescript and easy to miss. She pushed through the door, her heart hammering. A young pharmacist looked up from behind the counter. Can I help you? I hope so. My name is Sophia Marcelli. My husband has been picking up prescriptions here for me, but I've lost track of what I'm supposed to be taking. Can you look up my records? The pharmacist typed on his computer, frowned. I don't see anything under your name. Try Adrian Marcelli. He might have put it under his name. More typing. Yes, I see several prescriptions here. Lorazepam, filled monthly for the past 4 years. Is that what you're looking for? That's it. Can you tell me who prescribed it? Dr. Richard Chen. Would you like me to print out your medication history? Please. The pharmacist handed her several pages showing every refill, every date, every dosage increase over the years. Sophia folded them carefully and tucked them into her purse. One more thing, she said. Is there any way to get a copy of the original prescription? That would require Dr. Chen's office to release it. Patient privacy laws. Even if I'm the patient? The prescription is in your husband's name, ma'am. Technically, he's the patient of record. Sophia smiled tightly. Of course. Thank you for your help. Outside, she leaned against the brick wall and let herself breathe. She had proof now. Documentation showing years of controlled substances, prescribed to Adrian but given to her. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Her phone buzzed, a text from Adrian. Dinner meeting tonight. Don't wait up. Sophia stared at the message. 6 months ago, hell, 2 weeks ago, she would have accepted it without question. Would have eaten alone, taken her pills, drifted off into medicated sleep. Now she saw it for what it was. Another night with C. Another piece of the life he'd built without her. She called Victor. He answered on the second ring. Talk to me. I have documentation. Pharmacy records showing Adrian's been getting benzodiazepines prescribed in his name and giving them to me for 4 years. Good. What else? Photos of all his receipts, the affair, the money transfers, everything. But I need to know what he's planning, where this is going. Because if he's been drugging me this long, there's an endgame I'm not seeing. Victor was quiet for a moment. Meet me tomorrow. Rosewood Cafe, 2 p.m. Come alone. Adrian, tell him you have a doctor's appointment. He won't question it. He thinks you're still foggy enough to manage. Okay. Sophia, watch your back. If he suspects you know, he'll move fast. The line went dead. That night, Maria brought the usual tray. Sophia took the pills, thanked her, and flushed them the moment the door closed. But this time she saved one, wrapped it in tissue and tucked it into her jewelry box. Evidence. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around her. Adrian came home past midnight. She heard him moving around downstairs, then his footsteps on the stairs. He paused outside their bedroom door. Sophia closed her eyes, evened out her breathing. Playing possum. Playing the role he'd written for her. The door opened. She felt Adrian watching her in the darkness. Then he retreated, and she heard the guest room door close down the hall. He hadn't slept in their bed in months. She'd been too drugged to notice when it started. The next morning, Sophia told Adrian she had a doctor's appointment. He barely looked up from his phone. Fine, take the car. I'll get a cab. Suit yourself. She dressed carefully, not too put together, not too casual. Still playing the part of the fading wife, even as her mind sharpened with every hour of sobriety. The Rosewood Cafe was in a neighborhood she didn't recognize. Quiet, upscale, the kind of place where business was conducted in low voices over expensive coffee. Sophia arrived 10 minutes early and chose a table in the back. Victor showed up exactly at 2. He moved through the cafe like he owned it, and maybe he did. She was learning that the DeLuca reach extended further than she'd imagined. He sat across from her without preamble. Show me what you have. Sophia pulled out her phone, opened the photos, passed it across the table. Victor scrolled through them, his expression unreadable. When he reached the pharmacy records, something dark flickered in his eyes. This is enough, he said. More than enough. We could bury him with this. But we need to understand what he's planning. Men like Adrian don't maintain this level of deception without a goal. The mistress, he wants to be with her. Then why not just divorce you? Your family name doesn't carry the weight it used to. He could cut you loose. Sophia had thought about this. Maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's about the family. If he divorces me, it looks weak, like he failed. But if I'm... She stopped, the thought crystallizing. If I'm incapacitated, unwell, then he's the devoted husband caring for his sick wife. Victor's eyes narrowed. While actually keeping you sedated and out of the way, free to do whatever he wants. And eventually, maybe I have some kind of accident, or my health just fails. Too many pills, too much mixing medications, easy to explain. Jesus. Victor leaned back. He's planning to kill you, slowly but deliberately. The words should have terrified her. Instead, Sophia felt oddly calm. She'd suspected it, deep down. The pieces fit too well. What do I do? First, you get somewhere safe. If he even suspects you know, I can't run. Not yet. I have no money, no resources. Everything's in his name. I can give you money. And then I'm in debt to you, trading one cage for another. Victor studied her. You're smarter than I gave you credit for. I'm smarter than Adrian gave me credit for. That's going to be his mistake. A smile tugged at Victor's mouth. There she is, the woman from the wedding. She's been sleeping, but she's awake now. Good, because we're going to need her. Victor leaned forward. Here's what we do. You keep playing the role. Keep him thinking you're still under. But you document everything. And I mean everything. Where he goes, who he talks to, every transaction you can find. We build a case so airtight he can't wriggle out. And then we take it to the family, not the law. This stays internal. The DeLucas handle their own problems. When the truth comes out in front of the council, Adrian won't just lose you. He'll lose everything. The council? The family's ruling body. His father, his uncles, me. We handle disputes, make decisions about family business. If Adrian's been acting against family interests, and trust me, drugging and planning to murder his wife qualifies, they'll strip him of everything. Power, money, name. He'll be nothing. Sophia let that sink in. It was more than she'd hoped for. Not just escape, but destruction. Why are you helping me? She asked. Really? Not the line about cutting out cancer. What do you get out of this? Victor was quiet for a moment. I told you at the party, I don't like waste. And watching what my family does to people, how we grind them down and use them up, I'm tired of it. I can't change the whole system, but maybe I can give you a chance to break free of it. That's worth something. It wasn't a declaration of altruism, but it was honest. Okay, Sophia said. I'm in, all the way. Then let's get to work. Over the next 2 weeks, Sophia became a ghost in her own home, silent, observant, documenting everything. She found access codes to Adrian's laptop by watching over his shoulder. She photographed every paper in his study. She even hired a private investigator, paid in cash from an emergency fund her mother had given her years ago, one Adrian didn't know existed, to follow him. The investigator's report came back with an address, a luxury condo in the financial district, and a name, Christine Valdez. Sophia stared at the photo of the woman who'd been sleeping with her husband. Christine was beautiful in an obvious way. Dark hair, perfect skin, the kind of body that came from expensive trainers and careful maintenance. She was also young, 26 according to the report, an associate at Adrian's firm. Of course she was. There were photos of them together. Adrian's hand on Christine's lower back as they entered a restaurant, the two of them laughing in a wine bar. A shot through the window of the condo showing Adrian kissing her in the kitchen. Sophia felt nothing looking at them. No jealousy, no hurt, just cold calculation. Christine was a complication. If Adrian was planning to start over with her, he'd need Sophia out of the picture permanently. The timeline became clearer. She called Victor. He's moving faster than we thought, Victor said after she filled him in. If he's already setting up a life with this woman, he'll want you gone soon. How soon? Weeks, maybe. Months, if we're lucky. Then we move now. Not yet. We need the council meeting scheduled, and that takes time. Family politics. But I'll start putting pressure on. Make it happen. What do I do in the meantime? Stay alert. Don't take any pills. Don't eat or drink anything he gives you directly. And Sophia, if things go sideways, if you feel unsafe even for a second, you call me. I'll get you out. I will. But she wouldn't. Sophia was done running, done being rescued. If this was going to work, she needed to see it through herself. That night, Adrian came home earlier than usual. Sophia was in the living room, pretending to read a book she couldn't focus on. We need to talk, he said. Her heart kicked up, but she kept her expression neutral. About what? Your health. I'm worried about you. I'm fine. You're not fine, Sophia. You're getting worse. The memory issues, the fatigue. I think we need to see a specialist. I saw a doctor last week. She said I was okay. Adrian's eyes narrowed. What doctor? You didn't mention seeing anyone. Shit, she'd forgotten that lie. Dr. Morrison, just a routine checkup. I want to see the report. I don't have it yet. Then I'm making an appointment for you with a neurologist. Something's not right, and we need to figure out what it is. Sophia's mind raced. A neurologist would run tests, find the sedatives in her system. Or worse, if Adrian controlled the doctor, he could use the diagnosis to justify increasing her medication. Declare her mentally unfit. Lock her away. That's not necessary, she said carefully. I feel fine. You don't look fine. You look sick. Pale, thin, disconnected. I'm calling tomorrow. No. The word came out sharper than she intended. Adrian's expression shifted. No? I said, I'm fine. I don't need a neurologist. I wasn't asking for your permission, Sophia. I'm your husband. I'm responsible for your welfare. Something snapped inside her. Years of biting her tongue, playing along, disappearing into nothing. It all bubbled up at once. You're not responsible for anything except making me sick in the first place. The words hung between them. Adrian went very still. What did you say? Sophia stood, her hand shaking but her voice steady. I know, Adrian, I know what you've been doing. The pills, the drugs. I know about Christine, about the condo, the money, all of it. His face went white, then red. You've been going through my things. Your things? Those are drugs you've been feeding me for 4 years. That's not your thing. That's my life you've been stealing. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You wanted me out of the way but didn't want the scandal of a divorce. So you drugged me into submission and built a whole separate life. How long were you planning to keep it going? Or were you just waiting for the right moment to finish me off? Adrian moved toward her, fast. Sophia backed up, but he grabbed her arm, his fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. You stupid bitch. You have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. I woke up, and that terrifies you. He shoved her backward. Sophia stumbled, caught herself on the arm of the couch. You think you're so smart, Adrian hissed. You think you can threaten me? You're nothing. You have nothing. No money, no family, no proof of anything. I have plenty of proof, and it's already in safe hands. That stopped him. What? You heard me. Bank records, pharmacy records, photos, everything. If anything happens to me, it all goes public. Adrian's face twisted. You're bluffing. Try me. They stared at each other, the pretense of their marriage finally stripped away completely. Sophia saw him clearly now, not the man she'd married, but the monster who'd been hiding behind that face all along. Get out, Adrian said quietly. This is my home too. Get out before I make you regret this conversation. Sophia grabbed her purse and phone, walked to the door with as much dignity as she could manage while her whole body shook. Outside, she made it 3 blocks before her legs gave out. She sat on a bench, breathing hard, trying to process what had just happened. Her phone rang. Victor. Where are you? How did you... I have people watching the house. They saw you leave. Are you hurt? No, just shaken. Where's Adrian? Still inside. We had a fight. I told him I knew about everything. Victor swore. That was stupid. I know. But he was pushing, and I couldn't. I had to. It's done now. Can you get to the Harrington Hotel? I'll meet you there. I have my mother's emergency money. I can pay. Just get there. We'll sort it out. The Harrington was old money elegant, the kind of place Sophia had been to for charity events but never stayed. The desk clerk barely looked at her as she checked in under a fake name Victor had arranged. He showed up 20 minutes later, looking angrier than she'd ever seen him. You could have gotten yourself killed. I'm fine. You're lucky. Adrian's dangerous when he's cornered. Victor paced the hotel room. We need to move up the timeline. I'll call an emergency council meeting for next week. That fast? We don't have a choice now. He knows you know. He's going to either try to discredit you or eliminate you. We need to strike first. Sophia sank onto the bed. I've destroyed everything, haven't I? The marriage is over, but I still have nothing. No money, no home. You have something better. You have the truth. And in front of the council, the truth is currency. Victor stopped pacing, looked at her directly. But you need to be prepared. When we do this, Adrian's going to come at you with everything. He'll call you crazy, claim you're making it all up, maybe even say you're the one who's unstable. Can you handle that? I can handle it. You're sure? Because once we start this, there's no going back. The family doesn't forgive weakness. Sophia met his eyes. I'm done being weak. Whatever comes next, I'm ready. Victor studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, then we prepare. You'll testify before the council, present your evidence, tell your story. I'll back you up, corroborate what I've seen. And when it's over, Adrian will be finished. And me? What happens to me? That depends on you. You'll have grounds for divorce, obviously. And the family will compensate you for Adrian's betrayal. It's protocol when a member acts against family interests. Enough to start over, at least. Start over. The words felt impossible and necessary all at once. There's something else, Victor said. Something you should know before we do this. What? The council is going to ask why I'm involved. Why I'm taking your side against my own nephew. What will you tell them? The truth. That Adrian's actions put the family at risk. That his behavior was reckless and damaging. He paused. But they'll also wonder about my motivations. About whether this is just business or something more personal. Sophia's breath caught. Is it something more? Victor was quiet. When he finally spoke, his voice was careful. I told you at the party. I saw who you were 6 years ago. And watching Adrian destroy that, it made me angry. Not just as family, but as someone who recognized potential being wasted. So yes, it's personal, but I need you to understand something. What? I'm not a good man, Sophia. I've done things that would horrify you. I'm not offering you a fairy tale ending, just a chance to reclaim your life. Don't mistake my help for anything more than that. It was the second time he'd warned her away from seeing him as anything other than what he was. Sophia appreciated the honesty more than she could say. I'm not looking for a hero, Victor, just an ally. Good, then we understand each other. He left her alone in the hotel room with instructions to stay put until the council meeting. 1 week, 7 days to prepare for the moment that would either free her or destroy her completely. Sophia lay on the hotel bed and stared at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed continuously. Adrian calling, texting, demanding she come home. She turned it off. For the first time in years, she was completely alone. No husband monitoring her movements, no pills clouding her thoughts, no expectations weighing her down. It should have felt terrifying. Instead, it felt like breathing. The week passed in a strange suspension of time. Sophia stayed in the hotel room, ordering room service she barely touched, watching the city move below her window. Victor checked in daily, bringing updates and coaching her for the council meeting. Adrian's calls eventually stopped, replaced by silence that felt more threatening than his anger. On the 4th day, Elena showed up at her door. Sophia opened it to find Adrian's sister standing in the hallway, designer handbag clutched in both hands like a shield. How did you find me? Victor told me where you were. Elena stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. I needed to see you. Does Adrian know you're here? No, and he won't. Can we talk? Sophia closed the door. Elena paced the small sitting area, her heels clicking against the hardwood. I knew something was wrong, Elena said finally. At family dinners, watching you fade away year after year, I told myself it wasn't my business, that every marriage has problems. She turned to face Sophia. I was a coward. You couldn't have known what he was doing. Maybe not the specifics, but I knew he was cruel to you. I saw it and did nothing. Elena's voice cracked. I'm sorry. The apology landed somewhere deep in Sophia's chest, in a place that hadn't expected kindness from this family. Why are you here, Elena? To warn you, Adrian's planning something. I don't know what exactly, but I overheard him on the phone yesterday. He was talking about the council meeting, about making sure certain people hear his version first. He's going to try to destroy your credibility before you even speak. How? I don't know, but you need to be ready for him to get dirty. He's desperate, and desperate men in this family. They don't play fair. Sophia sat down heavily. I have evidence. Documentation. Victor says it's enough. Evidence can be explained away if the right people are convinced you're unstable, and Adrian's good at that, making people question reality. Elena moved closer. There's something else. Christine, she's pregnant. The air left Sophia's lungs. What? 3 months. I heard Adrian talking to her. He's planning to leave you the minute this council thing is over. Marry her, claim the baby as his fresh start. Elena's expression hardened. He thinks he's going to walk away from this clean. New wife, new baby, whole new life. while you take the fall for being the crazy, unstable wife who made up lies about him." Sophia's hands were shaking. "He can't. The evidence that will only matter if they believe you over him. And Adrian's already been working the family, telling them you've been sick, that the stress has made you paranoid. I've heard the whispers." "Then what am I supposed to do?" Elena reached into her bag and pulled out a flash drive. "Adrian keeps files on everyone. Leverage, he calls it. Dirt on family members, business partners, anyone who might threaten him. I copied everything I could find on his laptop before he changed his passwords. I don't know what's on here, but maybe it'll help." Sophia took the drive with trembling fingers. "Why are you doing this? He's your brother. He's a monster, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise." Elena headed for the door, then paused. "One more thing. Watch out for Uncle Marcus. He and Adrian have been close lately. Too close. If Adrian has an ally on the council, it's him." After Elena left, Sophia called Victor immediately. He arrived within the hour, bringing a laptop. They plugged in the flash drive together. The files were extensive. Years of collected information on nearly everyone in the DeLuca family and their associates. Financial improprieties, affairs, illegitimate children, business deals that skirted legality. Adrian had been building an insurance policy against the entire family. "Jesus Christ," Victor muttered, scrolling through folders. "He's been documenting everything. Can we use this?" "Some of it, but we have to be careful. If we reveal how much dirt Adrian has on everyone, they might protect him just to keep him quiet." Victor stopped on a particular file. "Wait, look at this." It was a folder labeled Marcus DeLuca. Inside were photos of Adrian's uncle meeting with representatives from the Constantine family, rivals who'd been trying to muscle into DeLuca territory for years. "Marcus is selling information," Sophia said. "Not just selling. He's been setting up his own deals on the side, using family resources without authorization. If the council finds out, they'll exile him, just like they'll exile Adrian." Victor's eyes met hers. "This is leverage, real leverage. If Marcus tries to defend Adrian during the meeting, we drop this bomb. Show everyone that they're both traitors. Will that be enough?" "It'll shift the balance. Make the other council members afraid to side with Adrian, in case they're next to be exposed." Victor closed the laptop. "This changes everything. We're not just fighting for your freedom anymore. We're going to war with half the family." The reality of it settled over Sophia like a heavy coat. "I didn't want this. I just wanted out." "I know, but that's not how this works. The family doesn't do quiet separations. It's all or nothing." Victor moved closer. "You can still walk away. Take some money, disappear, start over somewhere else. No one would blame you." Sophia thought about it, really thought about it. She could run, could take whatever Victor offered and build a small, safe life somewhere far from the DeLuca family and their brutal politics. But then she thought about the years Adrian had stolen from her, the person she'd been before the drugs, the fog that had nearly consumed her completely. "No," she said, "I'm seeing this through. Even if it gets ugly, especially if it gets ugly, Adrian doesn't get to win. Not after what he did." Victor smiled, and it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who understood revenge. "Okay then, let's burn it all down." The council meeting was set for Monday evening at the DeLuca estate. Sophia spent the weekend preparing, going over her testimony with Victor until she could recite the facts in her sleep. He drilled her on potential questions, how to stay calm under attack, how to present evidence without seeming vindictive. "They're going to try to rattle you," he said Sunday night. "Make you emotional, make you look unstable. You need to stay cold, clinical, just the facts." "I can do that." "Can you?" "Because the minute you show weakness, they'll tear you apart. This family respects strength and nothing else." Sophia met his eyes. "I survived 6 years of being drugged and erased. I can handle a room full of judgmental assholes." Victor laughed. "There she is." Monday arrived too fast and too slow. Sophia dressed carefully in a charcoal suit, professional, severe, nothing that could be called emotional or unstable. She pulled her hair back, applied minimal makeup. She needed to look like someone in control. Victor picked her up at 6. The drive to the estate was silent. Sophia watched the familiar route pass by, remembering all the times she'd made this trip with Adrian, foggy and compliant. That version of herself felt like a stranger now. "Whatever happens in there," Victor said as they pulled up to the mansion, "you don't back down, you hear me? They smell fear like sharks smell blood." "I won't back down." Mom. Inside, the council was already assembled in the formal dining room. The table had been cleared, replaced with a long conference setup. 5 men sat on one side, Adrian's father Roberto at the center, flanked by his brothers Marcus and Giovanni, and 2 cousins Sophia barely knew. They all looked at her with varying degrees of suspicion and hostility. Adrian sat at the far end, his lawyer beside him. He wouldn't look at her. Victor guided Sophia to a chair facing the council. He took the seat beside her, his presence a solid wall of support. Roberto De Luca called the meeting to order. "We're here to address serious allegations made by Sofia Marcelli against her husband, Adrian. These allegations, if true, represent a violation of family trust and honor. Sophia, you may begin." Her mouth was dry. Under the table, Victor's hand briefly touched her knee, grounding her. Sophia stood. "For the past 4 years, my husband has been systematically drugging me with benzodiazepines to keep me sedated and compliant. During this time, he has been conducting an affair with a woman named Christine Valdez, using family money to fund a separate residence and lifestyle. He has stolen years of my life and my autonomy while planning to eventually remove me permanently." The room erupted. Adrian's father held up a hand for silence. "Those are serious accusations. What proof do you have?" Sophia opened her folder. Pharmacy records showing prescriptions filled in Adrian's name but given to me. Bank statements showing money transfers to accounts I don't have access to. Photos of Adrian with Christine Valdez. Lease agreements for a condo in both their names. And testimony from household staff who witnessed Adrian instructing them to give me these pills. She passed copies around the table. The council members examined them in silence. Marcus spoke first. "These could be fabricated. Pharmacy records can be faked." "Not these. They're certified copies directly from Riverside Pharmacy. The pharmacist will testify if needed." "Oh. And the affair?" Roberto asked. "Infidelity, while distasteful, is not a family matter. It becomes a family matter when he's using De Luca money to fund it without authorization, when he's making decisions about family assets based on his personal interests rather than family interests." Adrian's lawyer stood. "My client maintains that Sophia has been suffering from mental health issues for years. The medication in question was prescribed to help her anxiety and depression. The fact that she's now spinning this into some conspiracy shows how disturbed she's become." "I'm not disturbed. I'm clear-headed for the first time in years because I stopped taking the drugs he was feeding me." "Drugs that were prescribed by a licensed physician for legitimate medical reasons," the lawyer countered. "Prescribed to him, not to me, and given to me without my knowledge or consent. That's not medicine, that's assault." Adrian finally spoke. "You were falling apart, Sophia. I was trying to help you. The stress of the marriage, your family's financial collapse, you couldn't handle it. I did what I thought was best. You did what was convenient. You kept me sedated so I wouldn't notice you building another life with another woman. That's not true. Christine Valdez is pregnant with your child, 3 months along. Are you going to deny that too?" The room went silent. Adrian's face paled. Roberto's voice was ice. "Is this true, Adrian?" It's complicated. Answer the question. Is this woman pregnant with your child?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "Yes." "And you were planning to divorce Sophia and marry this woman?" "After I made sure Sophia was taken care of, yes. She was sick, Father. She needed help, and I couldn't provide it while maintaining my position in the family. I was going to make sure she had the best care." "In a mental institution?" Sophia cut in. "That was your plan, wasn't it? Drug me until I really was unstable, then have me committed so you could take over my assets and start your new life guilt-free. That's insane." "Is it? Because I found the consultation records with Riverside Psychiatric Hospital in your office, dated 3 weeks ago. You were already laying groundwork for my commitment." She pulled out more papers. Victor helped her distribute them. Adrian's face went from pale to crimson. These are private medical consultations about committing your wife against her will based on a condition you created by drugging her, Sophia said. That's not private, that's premeditated. Marcus cleared his throat. While all of this is concerning, I'm not sure it rises to the level of family intervention. Marriages fail. People make mistakes. Perhaps we're overreacting. Tell them about the Constantine family, Victor said quietly. Marcus froze. What? Tell them about your meetings with Alexei Constantine, about the information you've been selling, the deals you've been making on the side. The room exploded again. Roberto's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. What is he talking about, Marcus? Nothing. He's deflecting. Victor pulled out his own folder. I have photos, financial records, communication logs. Marcus has been working with our competitors for 18 months, sharing family business information, setting up parallel operations, siphoning resources. That's a lie, is it? Victor spread photos across the table. Marcus meeting with known Constantine associates, bank transfers, encrypted messages that Victor's people had somehow accessed. Roberto's face had gone dark red. Marcus, explain this. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? Because it looks like betrayal. Marcus's composure cracked. You left me no choice. You've been shutting me out of major decisions for years, giving all the power to Victor and your sons. I built my own security, that's all. By selling out your family? Giovanni demanded. I was protecting my interests. You were committing treason, Roberto said, against your own blood. The attention had shifted completely away from Sophia and Adrian. She watched as the council turned on Marcus with vicious efficiency. They smelled weakness now, and they were circling. But Adrian's lawyer wasn't finished. This is very convenient, presenting evidence against Marcus right when Sophia's credibility is questioned. It seems like a coordinated attack designed to destabilize the family. Or it's the truth coming out all at once, Victor said. Adrian and Marcus have been working together. Adrian provided Marcus with inside information in exchange for support on the council. They're both corrupt. That's not true, Adrian said, but his voice lacked conviction. Prove it, Victor challenged. If you're innocent, prove it. Adrian looked at his father, then at Marcus. Something passed between them, fear, maybe, or recognition of defeat. The council will deliberate, Roberto announced. Everyone except council members out. Now. Sophia stood on shaking legs. Victor guided her out of the room, Adrian and his lawyer following. In the hallway, Adrian grabbed her arm. You're going to regret this. Victor moved between them. Touch her again, and you'll regret it more. She's my wife. Not for much longer. The council's going to strip you of everything, and we both know it. Adrian's eyes were wild. You turned her against me. You wanted her for yourself. I didn't have to turn her against you. You did that yourself when you decided drugging her was easier than being a decent human being. Security appeared. Actual security guards, armed and professional. They escorted Adrian and his lawyer to a separate waiting room. Sophia found herself alone with Victor in a small study. Her whole body was trembling. Did we do it? Is it enough? I don't know. The Marcus thing helped, shifted focus. But Roberto's old school. He might decide to sweep it all under the rug to avoid scandal. And if he does, then we go to Plan B. What's Plan B? We leak everything to the press and let the court of public opinion handle it. Sophia sank into a chair. This is really happening. This is real. Victor knelt in front of her, taking her hands. It was the most tender gesture she'd seen from him. You were incredible in there. Strong, clear, unbreakable. Whatever happens next, you won already. You took back your voice. I'm terrified. Good. Terror means you're alive. You feel things again. That's everything. They waited for 2 hours. Sophia paced. Victor made phone calls in low tones. Neither of them ate or drank anything. The tension was suffocating. Finally, Giovanni emerged. They're ready. Back in the dining room, the council had reconvened. Roberto's expression was unreadable. After reviewing all evidence and testimony, this council has reached several conclusions. First, regarding Marcus DeLuca's actions, His dealings with the Constantine family represent an unacceptable betrayal of family trust. Effective immediately, he is stripped of all family business roles, all access to family resources, and all protections afforded by this family. He has 48 hours to settle his affairs and remove himself from all family properties. Marcus started to protest, but Roberto silenced him with a look. Second, regarding Adrian Marcelli, the evidence of systematic drugging of a family member, misappropriation of family funds, and planning the institutionalization of his wife to cover his crimes is damning and disturbing. However, Sophia's heart sank at that word. However, we must also consider that Adrian acted in part out of genuine concern for his wife's deteriorating mental state, even if his methods were misguided and illegal. Therefore, the council has decided on the following. Adrian will be removed from all leadership positions within family business. His assets will be frozen pending a full audit. He will be required to enter counseling and substance monitoring. And his marriage to Sophia will be annulled, with Sophia receiving a settlement equal to half of Adrian's personal assets, separate from family holdings. That's not enough, Sophia said before she could stop herself. Roberto's eyes snapped to her. Excuse me? He tried to destroy me, to erase me. And you're giving him counseling and an audit while I get money and a divorce like this was just a bad marriage? You're getting justice. I'm getting a consolation prize. He should be exiled like Marcus. He should lose everything. Sophia, Victor warned quietly, but she was done being quiet. He's your son, so you're protecting him. I understand that, but don't pretend this is justice. This is you saving face while throwing me enough money to keep me quiet. Roberto stood slowly. You dare speak to me this way in my own house? I dare speak the truth, something this family seems allergic to. The room held its breath. Sophia knew she'd crossed a line, but she was too angry to care. Roberto studied her for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. It wasn't a warm smile, but there was something like respect in it. You have more spine than I gave you credit for. Very well. Adrian will also be exiled from family business for a period of no less than 5 years. During that time, he will have no access to family resources, no representation in family decisions, and no protection under family name. After 5 years, he may petition for reinstatement, but it is not guaranteed. Is that satisfactory? It wasn't everything, but it was something. Yes, Sophia said. Then it's settled. This meeting is adjourned. The council filed out. Adrian remained frozen in his seat, his face ashen. He'd lost everything, his position, his power, his future. Christine might still be there, but without the DeLuca name and money, Sophia wondered how long that would last. She felt nothing looking at him, no satisfaction, no pity, just emptiness where her marriage used to be. Outside, Victor walked her to his car. That was risky, challenging Roberto like that. I know, but I meant it. The original sentence was a joke. And you made him respect you for calling it out. That was smart. Victor opened the car door for her. What now? Now I figure out who I am without Adrian, without the drugs, without any of this. That's going to take time. I have time now. That's more than I had a month ago. They drove in silence for a while. Sophia watched the city lights blur past, feeling untethered and free in equal measure. I'm going back to the hotel tonight, she said. Tomorrow I'll start looking for an apartment. Something small, just mine. The settlement will take a few weeks to process. I still have my mother's emergency fund. It'll be enough for now. Victor pulled up to the Harrington. Before she could get out, he touched her arm. I meant what I said before. I'm not a good man. But if you need anything at all, you call me. Why? The council meeting's over. You got what you wanted. What I wanted was to see you wake up. And now that you have, I'd like to see what you do next. There was something in his voice, something unspoken but present. Victor, I'm not asking for anything. I'm just saying the offer stands. Sophia looked at him, this dangerous, complicated man who'd helped her reclaim herself. She didn't know what he wanted from her or what she wanted from him, but she knew she wasn't ready to close that door. Okay, she said. I'll remember that. She went inside alone. In her hotel room, she ordered whiskey from room service and stood at the window, watching the city breathe below her. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You're going to pay for what you did. Adrian. Of course. Sophia deleted the message and blocked the number. Whatever threats he wanted to make, they were empty now. He had no power over her anymore. She was finally, terrifyingly free. The threatening text was just the beginning. Over the next 3 days, Adrian tried everything. Blocked numbers sending messages at all hours. Emails to her lawyer claiming she'd stolen from him. Even a late-night call to the hotel front desk saying she was unstable and dangerous, though the staff had ignored him. Sophia documented everything and sent copies to Victor and her attorney. She wasn't scared. Not anymore. Adrian's desperation was proof she'd won. On Thursday, she found an apartment. Nothing like the mansion she'd shared with Adrian, just a one-bedroom in a quiet building with good light and no memories attached. She signed the lease with her maiden name, Sophia Brennan, and felt like she was meeting herself for the first time. The settlement money came through faster than expected. Victor had pushed the family lawyers hard, and by Friday afternoon, Sophia had access to funds that would let her rebuild. Not lavish wealth, but independence. She could breathe. She was unpacking boxes in her new place when her phone rang. Victor. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Sophia grabbed the remote. The screen filled with a reporter standing outside a downtown police station. Adrian Marcelli, connected to the prominent DeLuca family, was taken into custody this afternoon on charges of assault and attempted bribery. Sources say Marcelli attacked a process server delivering divorce papers and then offered the arresting officer money to let him go. He's being held pending arraignment. Oh my God, Sophia breathed. He's unraveling, Victor said. Completely. My sources say he showed up at Christine Valdez's apartment this morning, drunk, demanding she take him back. She called the cops. Then he went after the process server your lawyer sent. Will he make bail? Eventually, but this is good for you, shows a pattern of instability and violence. Your lawyer can use this in the divorce proceedings. Sophia sat down heavily on her new couch. I didn't want this. I just wanted him to leave me alone. He can't. Men like Adrian, when they lose control, they burn everything down trying to get it back. He's dangerous right now, Sophia. More dangerous than before. What am I supposed to do? Stay alert. Don't go anywhere alone. I'm sending someone to watch your building. Victor, that's not necessary. It is, and it's not up for debate. After he hung up, Sophia stood at her window and looked down at the street. Sure enough, a black SUV was parked across from her building, tinted windows hiding whoever Victor had sent. She should have felt trapped. Instead, she felt grateful. Because Victor was right. Adrian was spiraling, and spiraling men did unpredictable things. The next morning, Elena called. Have you seen him? Her voice was tight with worry. Adrian. No, why? He made bail last night, and this morning, he showed up at Mother and Father's house. Sophia, he's not right. He was ranting about you, about Victor, about how everyone betrayed him. Father had security escort him out. Where is he now? No one knows. His phone's off. He's not at his apartment or Christine's place. He just vanished. A chill ran down Sophia's spine. Elena, if you hear from him, I'll let you know immediately. Just be careful, please. Sophia spent the day hyper-aware of every sound, every movement outside her window. The security detail Victor sent stayed parked below. She tried to focus on unpacking, on making this space hers, but Adrian's absence felt more threatening than his presence ever had. At 6 p.m., her building's buzzer rang. She checked the video intercom. Victor stood at the entrance, holding takeout bags. She buzzed him up, and when she opened her door, he looked her over carefully. You okay? Define okay? He came inside, set the food on her small kitchen counter. I brought dinner. Figured you wouldn't want to go out. You heard about Adrian disappearing. I heard, and I don't like it. My people are checking his usual spots, but he's staying off-grid. Victor unpacked containers of Thai food. Until we know where he is, you need to be smart. I am being smart. I'm staying in. Good. Now eat. You look like you haven't slept in days. They ate in relative silence, the tension thick between them. Sophia pushed pad thai around her plate, her appetite gone. "Tell me something," she said finally. "Why are you really doing this? And don't give me the line about cutting out cancer or stopping waste. The real reason." Victor set down his fork. "You want the truth? I always want the truth. The first time I saw you, at your wedding, I thought Adrian was the luckiest bastard in the family. You were sharp, funny, alive. You challenged me during a 30-second conversation about politics and made me actually think. That never happens." He leaned back. "And then I watched him systematically destroy that. Turn you into a ghost. It made me angry in a way I didn't expect. So this is guilt? No, it's recognition. I saw someone worth saving and I had the power to help. Simple as that. Nothing about you is simple." Victor's mouth quirked. "Fair enough. But my motivations here are, I wanted to help you wake up, and now that you have, I want to make sure you stay that way. Even though I'm not your responsibility? Especially because you're not my responsibility. If you were, this would be obligation. This way, it's choice." Sophia studied him. Victor was dangerous, complicated, probably guilty of things she didn't want to know about. But he'd also been honest with her in a way no one else had. He'd seen her when everyone else looked through her. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for everything. Don't thank me yet. This isn't over." He was right. At 11 that night, Sophia's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Sophia." Adrian's voice was slurred, barely coherent. "We need to talk." "We have nothing to talk about." "Yes, we do. You ruined my life, you and Victor, conspiring against me. I didn't conspire against you, Adrian. I just stopped letting you destroy me. I loved you. I took care of you. You drugged me. You erased me. That's not love. Where are you? I want to talk face to face, explain things properly." Sophia's hand tightened on the phone. "No, stay away from me. You can't just throw away 6 years of marriage. Watch me." She hung up. Her hands were shaking. She called Victor immediately. "He just called, drunk, demanding to see me. Did you tell him where you are?" "No, but Victor, he sounded desperate, I know. That's what worries me." She heard movement on his end. "I'm coming over." "You don't have to. I'm already in the car." He arrived 20 minutes later, looking grimmer than she'd ever seen him. "Show me your security setup." Sophia walked him through her apartment. The locks were decent, but not great. The fire escape outside her bedroom window was accessible from the alley below. "This won't do," Victor said. "Pack a bag. You're staying somewhere else tonight." "I'm not running from my own home." "You're being smart. There's a difference." His voice was hard. "Adrian's unstable, drunk, and fixated on you. I'm not taking chances." "Where would I even go?" "My place. Guest room. Full security, guards at the entrance, cameras everywhere. You'll be safe." Sophia wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could handle this herself. But the truth was, she was scared. And Victor's offer, while complicated, was also practical. "Fine, but just for tonight. We'll see." Victor's penthouse was exactly what she expected. Modern, expensive, cold in its perfection. But the guest room he showed her to was surprisingly comfortable, with a huge bed and windows overlooking the city. "Lock the door if you want," he said, "but you're safe here. I promise." After he left, Sophia sat on the bed and tried to process how her life had changed in just a few weeks. From drugged housewife to divorce proceedings to hiding from her ex-husband in her former uncle-in-law's penthouse. It was absurd. She showered, changed into the clothes she'd packed, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Sleep seemed impossible. A knock at her door made her sit up. "Yes?" "Can't sleep either," Victor's voice came through. "Thought you might want some company. Or whiskey. I have both." Sophia opened the door. Victor stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, looking more human than she'd ever seen him. He held 2 glasses and a bottle of very expensive scotch. "Company sounds good," she said. They sat in his living room, the city lights spreading below them like a blanket of stars. Victor poured generous amounts into both glasses. "To freedom." he said, raising his glass. To survival. They drank. The scotch burned perfectly. Can I ask you something personal? Sophia said after a while. You can ask. Can't guarantee I'll answer. Have you ever been married? Victor's expression shifted. Once, long time ago. It ended badly. What happened? She couldn't handle what I do, who I am. The family business isn't exactly 9 to 5 accounting. He took another drink. She wanted me to choose her or the family. I chose the family. Do you regret it? Every day, but I'd make the same choice again. He looked at her. That's who I am. The family comes first, always has. Then why help me against Adrian? He's family too. Adrian was a cancer. Cutting him out made the family stronger. Victor paused. But yeah, you're right. There's more to it than that. What? I saw in you what I lost in myself. The ability to choose something other than power and survival. To want more than just winning. He set down his glass. Helping you felt like redemption, maybe. Or at least revenge against the part of myself that chose wrong. The honesty of it struck Sophia silent. This man, so controlled and dangerous, admitting to regret and longing. For what it's worth, she said, I think you chose right. Walking away from your family would have destroyed you. It destroyed her instead. Some people aren't built for this world. That doesn't make it your fault. Victor looked at her with something like wonder. How are you so balanced about this? After everything Adrian did, you should be broken, bitter. Maybe I will be. Eventually. Right now I'm just trying to stay upright. You're doing more than that. You're rebuilding. They talked until 3 a.m, about everything and nothing. Sophia learned about Victor's childhood in the family business, the things he'd seen and done, the weight of being a DeLuca. She told him about her own past, before Adrian. The dreams she'd had, the person she'd wanted to become. You can still be that person, Victor said. Nothing's stopping you now. Except, I don't know who that person is anymore. The drugs took so much. I'm not sure what's left. Then you figure it out. Try things. Fail at things. That's how everyone does it. Is that what you did? No, I was born into a role and I filled it, but I'm not a good example of healthy life choices. Sophia laughed despite everything. No, you're really not. When she finally went back to the guest room, she felt lighter, less alone. Victor was complicated and dangerous, but he was also real in a way that felt rare. She slept better than she had in weeks. The next morning, Sophia woke to her phone ringing, her lawyer. We have a problem. Adrian's filed a countersuit claiming you defrauded him and stole family assets. It's nonsense, but we'll have to respond. How long will this drag out? Months, probably. He's trying to tie you up in legal battles, make things expensive and exhausting. Classic abuse tactic. After the call, Sophia found Victor in his kitchen making coffee. Adrian's trying to bury me in legal fees. Of course he is. Want me to handle it? No, this is my fight. Doesn't mean you have to fight alone. I know lawyers who specialize in making problems like Adrian disappear. Legally disappear? Define legally. Sophia took the coffee he offered. I need to do this right. No shortcuts, no family favors. If I'm going to be free of him, it has to be clean. Victor nodded slowly. I respect that, but the offer stands. That afternoon, Sophia's security detail called Victor. They'd spotted Adrian outside her apartment building, watching the entrance. How long was he there? Victor demanded. 20 minutes. Then he left when a patrol car came by. Sophia felt her stomach drop. He knows where I live. Of course he does. Property records are public. Victor was already on his phone. I'm calling my people. We're upgrading your security. Victor, I can't live like this, looking over my shoulder constantly. You won't have to. But right now, until Adrian calms down or does something stupid enough to violate his bail, we play it safe. But Adrian didn't calm down. Over the next week, the harassment escalated. He showed up at Sophia's lawyer's office. He sent flowers to her building with cards that said things like, I miss you, and we belong together. He created fake social media accounts to message her friends and family, spreading lies about her mental state. Elena called in tears. He contacted Mom, told her you're having a breakdown, that you're making everything up because you can't handle the divorce. She's actually starting to believe him. Let her believe him. I don't need her validation. But Sophia, Elena, I appreciate you trying to help, but I'm done caring what the DeLuca family thinks of me. I'm out. That was the whole point. After she hung up, Victor found her on his balcony. She'd been staying at his place for a week now, her apartment feeling too exposed. You okay? Adrian's poisoning everyone against me, making me the villain. Let him. The people who matter know the truth. Do they, or are they just being polite while secretly thinking I'm crazy? Victor moved to stand beside her at the railing. You want to know what I think? Always. I think you're the sanest person I know. You survived something that would have destroyed most people. You fought back when it would have been easier to disappear. And now you're rebuilding a life on your own terms. That's not crazy. That's strength. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. I don't feel strong. I feel exhausted. Strength and exhaustion aren't mutually exclusive. She leaned against the railing, letting the wind cool her face. What if he never stops? What if this is my life now, constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next attack? Then we make him stop. Something in Victor's tone made her look at him. What does that mean? It means there are ways to handle problems like Adrian. Permanent ways. Victor, I'm not saying we do it. I'm saying the option exists. Sophia's heart raced. You're talking about killing him. I'm talking about removing a threat. There's a difference. No, there isn't. And I can't. Relax. I'm not going to do anything without your approval. But I need you to understand something. In my world, threats don't just go away because you ignore them. They escalate until someone stops them. This isn't your world. This is a divorce. Messy, ugly, but legal. It stopped being just a divorce the minute Adrian hired someone to follow you. Sophia froze. What? Victor pulled out his phone, showed her photos. A man in a nondescript car watching her building. The same man at her lawyer's office. Outside the coffee shop she'd visited twice. My security team noticed him 3 days ago. He's private investigator, hired by Adrian to document your movements, probably hoping to find something he can use against you in court. That's legal, though. Unethical, but legal. The gun in his glove compartment isn't legal, not without the proper permits, which he doesn't have. Sophia's blood ran cold. Adrian hired someone with a gun to follow me? We don't know if Adrian knows about the gun, but we know the guy he hired isn't just an investigator. He's got a record. Assault, weapons charges. He's dangerous. What did you do? Had a conversation with him. Explained that continuing this job would be bad for his health. He's gone now. Won't be bothering you again. Sophia should have been grateful. Instead, she felt the walls closing in. You can't just threaten people on my behalf. I can and I will. Your safety isn't negotiable. It's my life, my choices, and I'm choosing to protect you. Deal with it. They stared at each other, the tension crackling between them. Sophia was angry at his high-handedness, but also terrified by what he'd revealed. Adrian had hired someone violent to watch her. That went beyond harassment into something darker. What else haven't you told me? She demanded. Victor hesitated. There's been chatter. In certain circles. Adrian's looking for leverage. Real leverage. He's desperate enough to do something stupid. Like what? Like try to have you committed or arrested, or worse. Victor's expression was grim. He's burning through his money fast. Legal fees, Christine's demands, maintaining appearances. He needs to neutralize you before his resources run out. Then we go to the police, get a restraining order. Based on what? He hasn't technically done anything illegal. The investigator was hired legally. The messages, while creepy, aren't threatening enough for criminal charges. And the family has enough pull that most cops won't touch this anyway. So what am I supposed to do? Just wait for him to make a move? No, you let me handle it. By killing him? If necessary. But there are other options. We could expose his finances, show he's hiding money from the court, get him arrested for perjury, bury him in legal trouble so deep he can't surface. It was tempting, so tempting. But Sophia knew if she went down that road, she'd lose herself. become something she didn't recognize. No, we do this right. Legal, clean, by the book. Victor's jaw tightened. That's going to take time you might not have. Then I'm running out of time, but I won't compromise on this. I won't become like him. For a long moment, Victor just looked at her. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, we do it your way, but if things escalate, if he makes a move that puts you in real danger, all bets are off. Fair enough? That night, Sophia lay in bed, unable to sleep again. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. A photo. Victor and her on his balcony, taken from a distance. The angle suggested someone in another building with a long lens. The message below it read, "Moved on fast. Does the family know you're fucking your ex-husband's uncle?" Sophia's hands shook. She called Victor immediately. He appeared at her door 60 seconds later, took the phone, examined the photo. That's from the Meridian building, 3 blocks south. His face was stone. Someone's watching us. Adrian? Or someone he hired? Victor was already making calls. I'm locking down the building. No one gets in or out without clearance. He's going to use this. Claim I was having an affair, that you and I conspired. Let him try. We have documentation proving when our relationship started, which was after you left him. Does it matter? The photo makes it look... The photo proves nothing except that we're talking on a balcony. But Victor's expression was tight. Though you're right. Adrian will spin it however he wants. Within an hour, Sophia's lawyer called. The photo had been sent to him, to the family council, to Elena, to various business associates. Adrian was flooding everyone with it, along with claims that Sophia and Victor had been having an affair for years. This is bad, the lawyer said. Really bad. Even if we prove it's false, the optics... I don't care about optics, Sophia cut in. I care about the truth. The truth is, you're living in Victor DeLuca's penthouse. That's going to be hard to explain. After the call, Sophia found Victor in his office, staring at multiple security feeds. I should go, move back to my apartment, get a hotel, something. Staying here is making things worse. Leaving makes you vulnerable. Staying makes me look guilty. Victor turned to face her. Of what? We haven't done anything wrong. Haven't we? The question hung between them. Because the truth was, something had shifted between them over the past weeks. The late-night conversations, the careful distance that kept shrinking, the way Sophia caught herself watching him when he wasn't looking. Sophia, I need to be honest with you, and with myself. She took a breath. I'm attracted to you. I don't know when it started, or if it's real, or if it's just transference from everything you've done for me. But it's there. And staying here, pretending it's not, that's a lie. Victor went very still. You just got out of a marriage where you were controlled and manipulated. The last thing you need is to jump into something else. I know that. And I told you from the beginning, I'm not a good man. I know that too. Then what are you saying? I'm saying I can't stay here anymore. Not because of Adrian or the photo or what people think, because of what I feel. And I need space to figure out if those feelings are real or just trauma. Victor studied her for a long moment. Okay, I understand. I'll have my security team set up at your apartment, upgrade everything. You'll be safe. Thank you. But Sophia, when you figure it out, whether these feelings are real or not, you tell me, because I need to know too. The confession in his voice made her breath catch. You feel it too. I felt it since the wedding 6 years ago. I just never acted on it because you were married, and because I knew getting involved with you would be complicated. It's still complicated. Maybe complicated is all we get. Sophia moved back to her apartment the next day. The security upgrades Victor arranged were excessive. Reinforced locks, cameras, a panic button that connected directly to his security team. But she felt safer knowing someone was watching. The divorce proceedings dragged on. Adrian fought everything, the settlement, the asset division, even the basic timeline. His new strategy was war of attrition. Make everything take longer, cost more, hurt more. But Sophia held firm. She documented every violation, every threatening message, every attempt at manipulation, built her case brick by brick, and slowly, painfully, she started to rebuild herself. She enrolled in classes, started seeing a therapist, reconnected with old friends she'd lost touch with during the marriage. Every day was a small battle to remember who she'd been and discover who she could become. Victor called regularly, never pushing, never asking for more than she could give, just checking in, making sure she was okay. 2 months after she'd moved out, Sophia's lawyer called with news. Adrian's finances are collapsing. His legal bills have drained most of his liquid assets. Christine left him last week. Apparently being with a broke, disgraced ex-DeLuca wasn't what she signed up for. And he's facing charges for the assault on the process server. The DA's not dropping them. What does this mean for the divorce? It means he's out of moves. He'll have to settle, probably within the next month. Sophia should have felt triumphant. Instead, she just felt tired. That night, she called Victor. It's almost over. Adrian's running out of money and options. Good. You deserve to be free of him. Victor? About what I said? About my feelings. You don't have to. I do. Because I figured it out. They're real. What I feel for you is real. Complicated and probably a terrible idea, but real. Silence on the other end. Then, what do you want to do about it? I don't know yet. I need to get through the divorce first, finish becoming myself again. But I wanted you to know that it's real. Okay, Victor said quietly. I'll be here. When you're ready. 3 weeks later, Adrian signed the settlement. The marriage was officially over. Sophia got her assets, her freedom, her name back. And for the first time in 6 years, she could breathe without weight on her chest. But the relief was short-lived, because the next morning, Victor's security team found something outside her building. A photo of Sophia, candid and unaware, with crosshairs drawn over her face. Adrian wasn't done with her after all. The whiskey burned going down, but Sophia welcomed it. Real sensation, real taste. Everything felt sharper now, more vivid, like she'd been living in black and white and someone had finally turned on the color. She slept better that night than she had in years. The next morning brought reality crashing back. Adrian's threats might be empty, but that didn't mean he was harmless. Cornered animals were the most dangerous, and Adrian had just lost everything that defined him. Sophia was packing her few belongings when someone knocked on the door. She checked the peephole, saw Victor's face, and let him in. "We have a problem," he said without preamble. "What now?" "Adrian's lawyer filed an emergency injunction this morning. He's claiming you coerced him into signing documents while he was under duress, and he's trying to freeze the settlement before it processes." Sophia's stomach dropped. "Can he do that?" "He can try. It won't hold up. We have recordings of the council meeting, documentation of everything, but it'll delay things. Could be weeks before you see any money." "I don't care about the money right now. I just want this finished." "There's more." Victor's expression darkened. "One of my contacts says Adrian's been making inquiries, asking about hiring people for security purposes." "Security for what?" "That's what concerns me. Adrian doesn't need security, but he might be looking for someone to handle a problem." Victor met her eyes. "Someone to handle you." The implication hung heavy between them. "You think he'd actually—" "I think he's desperate and humiliated and angry. That's a dangerous combination." Victor moved to the window, checking the street below. "I'm moving you somewhere safer, somewhere he can't find you. I'm not hiding from him. I'm not asking you to hide. I'm asking you to be smart, just until this settles." Before Sophia could argue, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Mrs. Marcelli?" A woman's voice, professional and clipped. "Yes?" "This is Detective Sarah Chen with the Metropolitan Police. I need you to come down to the station to answer some questions regarding your husband." Sophia's heart raced. "What kind of questions?" "I prefer to discuss this in person. Can you come in this afternoon? Am I being accused of something?" "No, ma'am. We just need your statement. 2 o'clock work for you?" After Sophia hung up, Victor was already on his phone, making calls. He finished and turned to her. "Don't go alone. I'm coming with you, and I'm bringing our lawyer." "What do you think this is about?" "I don't know, but the timing is suspicious." At the police station, Detective Chen was a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She led them into an interview room where another detective waited. "Mrs. Marcelli, thank you for coming in. I'm Detective Chen. This is Detective Rodriguez." We're investigating an incident that occurred last night involving your husband. What kind of incident? Adrian Marcelli was assaulted outside his office building around 11 p.m. Two men attacked him in the parking garage. He sustained significant injuries and is currently hospitalized. Sophia felt the room tilt. Is he? He'll survive, but he's claiming you orchestrated the attack. That's insane. I was at my hotel all night. Can anyone verify that? The hotel staff can verify I was checked in. I ordered room service around 8, didn't leave my room after that. Detective Chen made notes. Mr. Marcelli says you've been threatening him, that you've made statements about making him pay for your divorce. I never threatened him. He's the one who sent me threatening texts. Sophia pulled out her phone, showing the deleted messages she'd recovered. Look, he sent these after the council meeting. The lawyer Victor had brought leaned forward. My client is the victim here, detective. She's been systematically drugged and abused by her husband for years. We have medical evidence, pharmacy records, witness testimony. This assault claim is retaliation for her exposing his crimes to his family. We'll need to verify everything, Chen said. Mrs. Marcelli, where were you between 10 and midnight last night? In my hotel room, alone. Did you make any phone calls, any contact with anyone who might have carried out this attack? No, I don't even know anyone who would do something like that. Rodriguez spoke for the first time. What about Victor DeLuca? He's been helping you, hasn't he? The question landed like a bomb. Sophia glanced at Victor, who remained perfectly calm. Mr. DeLuca has been supporting me through a difficult divorce, Sophia said carefully. That doesn't make him responsible for whatever happened to Adrian. The two men who attacked Mr. Marcelli, according to witnesses, they had professional training, military or security background. Mr. DeLuca has connections to several private security firms. I have connections to a lot of things, Victor said smoothly. That doesn't mean I use them to assault people. Where were you last night, detectives? Can you account for your whereabouts? This isn't a joke, Mr. DeLuca. Neither is accusing someone without evidence, Victor stood. Unless you're charging my... He paused. Mrs. Marcelli with something. We're leaving. Chen exchanged a look with Rodriguez. You're free to go, but don't leave the city. We may have more questions. Outside, Sophia's legs almost gave out. Victor caught her arm, steadying her. I didn't do this, she said. I swear I didn't. I know you didn't. Did you? Victor's silence was answer enough. Jesus Christ, Victor. You could go to prison. No one's going to prison. Those detectives have nothing but Adrian's word, and his word doesn't carry much weight right now. Victor guided her to his car. Besides, I didn't do anything. I simply suggested to some associates that Adrian might be planning something dangerous. They took it upon themselves to deliver a warning. A warning that put him in the hospital. A warning that will make him think twice before actually hiring someone to hurt you. Victor opened the car door. I'm not apologizing for keeping you safe. Sophia didn't know what to feel. Horror at the violence or relief that someone had finally protected her the way no one had in years. This is going to get worse before it gets better, isn't it? Probably, but you're not facing it alone. Over the next week, chaos unfolded in layers. Adrian's assault made the news, not the major headlines, but enough to draw attention. The DeLuca family went into damage control mode, issuing statements about internal family matters being handled privately. The police investigation stalled when Adrian suddenly became uncooperative, refusing to identify his attackers or pursue charges. Victor's lawyer handled the injunction against the settlement, getting it dismissed within 72 hours. Money began transferring into an account set up in Sophia's name, more money than she'd ever had access to in her life. She moved out of the hotel into a small apartment in a neighborhood she'd always liked, but Adrian had considered beneath them. It was cramped, and the pipes rattled, and the view was just other buildings, but it was hers. Every piece of furniture she bought, every decision about paint colors and curtains, all hers. Elena visited, bringing wine and takeout. The family's imploding, she said, curled up on Sophia's new couch. Father's barely speaking to Adrian, mother's pretending none of this happened, and Marcus has actually left the city. Rumor is he's somewhere in Europe trying to salvage whatever business relationships he has left. What about you? How are you handling all this? Elena shrugged. Honestly, it's kind of liberating. Watching the perfect DeLuca facade crack open, seeing everyone scramble. I've been thinking about what you did. How you just refused to keep playing the game. I didn't have much choice. You had every choice. You could have stayed quiet, taken the pills, let Adrian erase you completely. But you didn't. Elena met her eyes. You fought back. That takes guts. Or desperation. Maybe both, but still, Elena raised her wine glass. To guts and desperation. Sophia clinked glasses with her. To surviving. They drank in companionable silence. Then Elena asked the question Sophia had been avoiding. So, what's going on with you and Victor? Nothing. He's helping me. Right, and the way he looks at you is just professional courtesy. Elena, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, be careful. Victor's not like Adrian. He's not cruel for the sake of it. But he's still dangerous, maybe more dangerous because you'll actually care about him. I'm not looking for another relationship. I just got out of a nightmare marriage. I know. Just keep your eyes open, okay? After Elena left, Sophia sat alone in her quiet apartment and thought about Victor. She'd been avoiding examining that connection too closely, but Elena was right. There was something there, something that felt both dangerous and necessary. Her phone rang. Victor. How do you feel about dinner tomorrow night? Is this business or something else? Does it need to be defined? Sophia smiled despite herself. No, I suppose not. Where? Somewhere Adrian would never think to look for you. Casual, relaxed, just two people eating food. That sounds suspiciously like a date. Only if you want it to be. She should say no, should maintain distance, keep things professional, but she was tired of doing what she should. Okay, yes, dinner sounds good. They met at a small Italian place in a neighborhood full of students and artists, nowhere near DeLuca territory. Victor was already there when Sophia arrived, sitting at a corner table in jeans and a casual shirt. She'd never seen him dressed down before. You look different, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. So do you. More relaxed. I'm not being watched every second. It's novel. They ordered wine, pasta, kept the conversation light. But eventually, inevitably, they circled back to everything that had happened. The police closed the assault investigation, Victor said. Adrian withdrew his complaint. Officially, he's claiming it was a mugging gone wrong. Why would he do that? Because pressing charges would mean testifying, answering questions about why he was attacked, drawing more attention to his situation. Victor twirled pasta on his fork. Also because I made it clear that if he pursued it, certain information about his finances would become public. He chose discretion. You blackmailed him. I negotiated. There's a difference. Is there? Victor set down his fork. Sophia, I need you to understand something about the world I live in. It's not black and white. It's not good guys and bad guys. It's survival and leverage and knowing when to push and when to fold. I did what I needed to do to protect you. If that makes me a bad person in your eyes, I can live with that. I'm not judging you. I'm trying to figure out if I can live in that world. You've been living in it for 6 years. You just didn't realize it. He was right. The DeLuca family, Adrian's manipulations, the council meeting, all of it was part of that same gray moral landscape. She'd just been a pawn before. Now she was choosing to be a player. I don't want to be like them, she said quietly. Like Adrian, like your family. I don't want to become someone who uses people and throws them away. Then don't. You get to decide who you are now. That's the whole point of everything you've done, taking back that choice. What if I make the wrong choices? Then you make different ones next time, but at least they're yours. Sophia studied him across the table. Why are you really helping me, Victor? And don't give me the line about waste or family honor. What's the real reason? He was quiet for a long moment. 6 years ago, at your wedding, we talked for maybe 15 minutes. You asked me what I did for the family, and I gave you some vague answer about business development. You looked me right in the eye and said, "That's a very polite way of saying something illegal, isn't it?" No one had ever called me out like that. Everyone's always too afraid or too eager to impress me. But you just saw through the bullshit and said it. I barely remember that conversation. I know, the drugs took it from you, but I remembered. And when I saw you at that party a few weeks ago, saw what Adrian had done to you, That woman who'd looked me in the eye and told me truth was gone, replaced by a ghost. He leaned forward. I wanted her back. That's why I helped. The confession hung between them, raw and honest. I'm not that woman anymore, Sophia said. I'm not who I was at the wedding. Too much has happened. No, you're not. You're someone who fought her way back from oblivion. That's better. The waiter interrupted with dessert menus. They declined, asked for the check instead. Outside, the night air was cool and clean. I'll drive you home, Victor said. I can get a cab. I know you can, but I'd like to drive you anyway. In the car, Sophia watched the city pass by. She felt balanced on the edge of something, a decision, a shift, a point of no return. I need time, she said as they pulled up to her building, to figure out who I am without Adrian, without the drugs, without anyone else's expectations. I understand, but I'd like to keep seeing you as friends, or whatever this is, if that's okay. Victor smiled. That's more than okay. She got out of the car, then leaned back in through the window. Thank you for everything, for seeing me when no one else did. Any time. Sophia watched him drive away, then went upstairs to her small, imperfect, completely her own apartment. The next few weeks settled into a routine. Sophia started therapy, real therapy, with a psychologist who specialized in trauma and recovery. She learned about gaslighting, about coercive control, about the long-term effects of benzodiazepine dependency. She cried in sessions, raged in sessions, slowly started putting pieces of herself back together. She saw Victor regularly, dinners, coffee, long walks through parts of the city she'd never explored. They didn't talk about the future or define what they were to each other. It felt too fragile for definitions yet. Adrian remained a distant threat. He'd moved in with Christine, according to Elena's updates. The baby was due in 5 months. He was trying to rebuild some kind of life outside the DeLuca sphere, but his options were limited. No family support, no family name to trade on. Just a regular person with a checkered past and a pregnant girlfriend. Sophia felt nothing thinking about him. Not satisfaction, not pity. Just blank space where years of pain used to be. One morning, her lawyer called with news. The annulment is final, signed by the judge this morning. You're legally free. Sophia sat down on her couch, holding the phone. Just like that? Just like that? The settlement is fully processed too. Everything's in your account. You're financially independent, legally single, and free to start over however you choose. After she hung up, Sophia sat in the quiet of her apartment. Free. The word felt huge and terrifying and exhilarating. She called Victor. It's done. The annulment came through. How do you feel? Untethered, like I'm floating. Want company while you float? Yeah, I think I do. He showed up an hour later with champagne and strawberries. Are we celebrating? Sophia asked. We're acknowledging a milestone. Whether that's a celebration is up to you. They sat on her small balcony, drinking champagne straight from the bottle because Sophia hadn't bought proper glasses yet. What are you going to do now? Victor asked. I don't know. I used to have plans, before Adrian, before everything. I wanted to start a business, something with design, maybe event planning, but that feels like another person's dream now. So what's this person's dream? Sophia thought about it. I want to help people, women specifically, women who are trapped like I was, who don't know they have options. That's a good dream. It's vague. Vague is fine. You've got time to make it specific. Victor took a drink from the bottle. The family has resources, foundations, charitable organizations. If you wanted to start something legitimate, I could help connect you. Why would they help me? I'm not family anymore. No, but I am, and I have pull. He handed her the bottle. Besides, helping women escape abusive situations looks good for the family image. Roberta would approve. Sophia laughed. It felt good. When had she last laughed? You're terrible, she said. I prefer pragmatic. They finished the champagne as the sun set over the city. Sophia felt warm and loose and more herself than she had in years. I'm going to do it, she said. Start a foundation or a shelter or something. Help women get out. I'll help. Why? Because you asked. Because it matters to you. Because I can. Victor met her eyes. Take your pick. What do you want from me, Victor? Really? He was quiet for a long time. Honestly, I don't know yet. I just know I want to keep being around you. See who you become. Maybe become someone different myself in the process. That's not very specific. No. But it's honest. Sophia leaned back in her chair, looking at the stars starting to appear above the city lights. Okay, let's figure it out together then. Over the following months, Sophia built something new. With Victor's connections and her settlement money, she founded Haven House, a transitional shelter for women leaving abusive relationships. It started small, just a few rooms in a converted brownstone, but it grew. Women started coming. Women with stories like hers, women who needed a place to land while they rebuilt their lives. She hired staff, counselors, legal advocates, job placement specialists. She fundraised, networked, used her new skills at navigating the DeLuca world for good, instead of just survival. Victor was there through all of it, not controlling, not directing, just supporting. They grew closer slowly, carefully, both of them wary of moving too fast or expecting too much. 6 months after the annulment, they were at a Haven House fundraiser when Elena approached them. Have you heard? She asked. Heard what? Sophia replied. Adrian and Christine split up. The baby's 3 months old and apparently it's been a disaster. She left him last week, took the kid, filed for custody. Sophia felt a flicker of something, not quite sympathy, but acknowledgement of karma coming full circle. Is he okay? Does it matter? Elena asked. No, but I can still wonder. He's broke, alone, and miserable. Everything he did to you came back around. Elena looked between Sophia and Victor. Meanwhile, you're here, building something real, looking actually happy. That's the best revenge. After Elena left, Victor touched Sophia's arm. You okay? Yeah, it's weird. I thought hearing about Adrian falling apart would feel better, but it just feels sad. He destroyed so much, including himself. That's called empathy. Means you're healing, or means I'm too soft. Soft and strong aren't opposites. You can be both. The fundraiser was a success. They raised enough to expand Haven House to a second location. Sophia gave a speech about survival and resilience that made half the room cry. Victor stood in the back, watching her with something like pride. Afterwards, they walked through the city. It had become their ritual, walking until they found somewhere quiet, talking until there was nothing left to say. I'm happy, Sophia said suddenly, like actually happy. Not pretending, not just okay. Actually happy. Good. You deserve that. So do you. Victor stopped walking. Sophia, I need to tell you something. Her stomach tightened. What? I'm in love with you. Have been for a while now. And I know we said we weren't defining this, weren't rushing, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel it. Sophia's breath caught. She'd known, on some level, had felt it building between them, but hearing him say it made it real. I'm scared, she admitted. Of me? Of this, of trusting someone again, of giving someone that much power over me. I don't want power over you, I want partnership with you. There's a difference. Is there? In your world? In our world, Victor corrected. And yes, there is. Sophia looked at him, this complicated, dangerous, surprisingly tender man who'd helped her find herself again. I think I'm in love with you too, she said, but I need you to understand something. I'm not going to disappear into you. I'm not going to become someone's wife again and lose myself. I'm staying me. I don't want you to be anything else. I'm serious, Victor. I'm keeping my own apartment, my own work, my own life. If we do this, it's as equals. I wouldn't have it any other way. She believed him, not because he was perfect or because she was naive, but because he'd proven himself over and over, through actions, not just words. Okay then, she said, let's try. He kissed her there on the sidewalk, gentle and sure, and it felt like coming home to a place she'd never been before. 1 year after the council meeting, Sophia stood in front of the second Haven House location at its grand opening. The place was packed. Donors, volunteers, women seeking help, press covering the story. Victor stood beside her, his hand resting lightly on her lower back. "This is incredible," Elena said, approaching with champagne. "You should be so proud." "I am. It's terrifying and amazing, and I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. Welcome to actual life. It's messy like that." Sophia laughed. She did that more now. Laughed, cried, felt everything deeply instead of through fog. Later, alone in her office, she looked at herself in the small mirror on the wall. She barely recognized the woman looking back. Stronger, sharper, more present. Hair shorter than Adrian had ever let her wear it. Wearing clothes she chose because she liked them, not because they were appropriate. The invisible woman was gone. In her place was someone who took up space unapologetically. Victor appeared in the doorway. "There you are. People are looking for you. Just taking a moment." He moved closer. "Everything okay?" "Better than okay. I was just thinking about how different everything is. How different I am." "Different good?" "Different real." She turned to face him. "I got something today. In the mail." "What?" She pulled out an envelope from her desk drawer. Inside was a wedding invitation. Adrian and Christine were getting married after all. Apparently, they'd reconciled, were trying again. "How do you feel about it?" Victor asked. "Nothing. Maybe a little hope that he's changed, that he won't do to her what he did to me. But mostly nothing." She dropped the invitation in the trash. "That life is over. This one is just beginning." Speaking of new beginnings, Victor pulled a small box from his pocket. Sophia's heart stuttered. "Victor, it's not what you think. Open it." Inside was a key. "What's this?" "I bought the building next to this one. It's yours, for Haven House, to expand. More rooms, more resources, whatever you need. I can't accept this. You can and you will. Consider it an investment in something that matters." He closed her fingers around the key. "You're changing lives, Sophia. Let me help you change more." She looked at the key, then at him. "This is too much. It's exactly enough. Besides, I can afford it." He smiled. "And before you get worried, it's in the Haven House Foundation's name, not yours. Completely separate from our relationship, just business. Business that costs millions. Business that saves lives. Worth every penny." Sophia threw her arms around him. "Thank you for this, for everything, for seeing me, always." 6 months later, Sophia discovered she was pregnant. The news sent her into a spiral of fear and joy, and everything in between. Victor held her while she cried, talked her through every worry, promised he'd be there for whatever she decided. "I want to keep it," she finally said. "I want this baby, but I'm terrified." "Of what?" "Of losing myself again. Of becoming just someone's mother and forgetting I'm also me." "That's not going to happen. I won't let it, and neither will you." Victor pressed a kiss to her forehead. "You're too strong now, too sure of who you are." "How do you know?" "Because I've watched you build an entire organization from nothing. Watched you stand in front of crowds and share your story. Watched you become someone who helps others find their strength. That person doesn't disappear just because there's a baby." He was right. She knew it deep in her bones. This wasn't 6 years ago. She wasn't that lost, desperate woman anymore. They told the family at a dinner Roberto called for all remaining DeLucas. The old man's eyebrows rose when Victor announced Sophia was pregnant, but he recovered quickly. "Congratulations," Roberto said, raising his glass. "To new life and new beginnings." Elena hugged Sophia fiercely. "You're going to be an amazing mother." "I'm going to try. That's all I can promise. That's all anyone can do." The pregnancy was easier than Sophia expected. She worked through most of it, running Haven House, expanding to a third location, speaking at conferences about domestic abuse and recovery. Victor was attentive but not suffocating, supportive but not controlling. They found a rhythm that worked. 3 weeks before her due date, Sophia was at the original Haven House when a new resident arrived. The woman was thin, shaking, clearly terrified. She reminded Sophia of herself 6 years ago. "I'm Sophia," she said gently. "You're safe here. Whatever you need, we'll help you find it." The woman burst into tears. "I don't even know what I need. I just knew I couldn't stay there anymore." "That's enough. Knowing you need to leave, that's the hardest part. Everything else we figure out together." She spent the afternoon getting the woman settled, connecting her with counselors, making sure she had everything she needed. It was only when she stood to leave that she felt the first contraction. "Oh," she said. "Are you okay?" The woman asked. "I think my water just broke." Chaos erupted. Staff rushed to help her. Victor was called. Sophia found herself laughing through contractions because of course this would happen at work. Of course. 13 hours later, Sophia held her daughter, Maya, and felt something shift fundamentally inside her. This was love, but different from what she felt for Victor. Fiercer. More terrifying. This tiny human was depending on her completely. "She's perfect," Victor whispered, tears in his eyes. "She's going to be so strong," Sophia said. "We're going to raise her to know she's enough all by herself, that she doesn't need anyone's permission to exist." "Absolutely." Sophia looked up at him. "I want to get married." Victor blinked. "What?" "Not a big thing. Not a DeLuca family production. Just us, Maya, Elena, maybe a few friends. I want to choose you officially, not because I need you, but because I want you." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." They married 3 months later in a small ceremony at Haven House. Sophia wore a simple dress, held Maya in one arm, and Victor's hand with the other. Elena served as witness. The woman Sophia had helped the day she went into labor attended, now stronger and starting her own new life. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. It was real. Standing in front of their small gathering, Sophia thought about the woman she'd been 6 years ago. The one who'd married Adrian out of desperation, who'd let herself be erased piece by piece. That woman would never have imagined this moment. "I choose this," she said during her vows. "I choose you, I choose us. I choose the life we're building together, not because I'm afraid of being alone, but because I'm strong enough to let someone in. That's the difference. That's everything." Victor's vows were simpler. "I see you, I've always seen you, and I promise to keep seeing you, keep supporting you being exactly who you are. That's all I've got." "That's everything I need," Sophia replied. They kissed while Maya gurgled between them, and their friends cheered. Later, in their home, a house they'd bought together, decorated together, filled with both their lives, Sophia stood in the nursery watching Maya sleep. Victor wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Happy?" he asked. Terrified and exhausted and completely happy. It's weird how all those things can exist together. That's life. The real kind, not the fake perfect kind. I like the real kind better. Sophia thought about the journey that had brought her here. The years of fog, the moment she'd locked eyes with Victor and something had awakened, the fight to reclaim herself, the slow rebuilding of a life worth living. It hadn't been smooth. It hadn't been easy. But it had been hers. She'd learned that love shouldn't erase you, that partnership should expand who you are, not diminish it, that you could survive the worst and still become someone stronger on the other side. Haven House now helped hundreds of women every year. Sophia spoke at universities, trained counselors, advocated for legislative changes around coercive control and domestic abuse. She was building something that would outlast her, a legacy of women helping women, of visibility and voice and choice. Maya stirred in her crib, and Sophia bent to pick her up. She looked at her daughter's face and made a silent promise. "You'll grow up knowing your worth. You'll never doubt you deserve respect. You'll see your mother as someone whole, not half a person attached to a man." "What are you thinking?" Victor asked. "That I'm going to teach her everything I had to learn the hard way. That she gets to start from strength instead of fighting to find it." "She's lucky to have you as a mother." "We'll see. Ask me again when she's 16 and hates me." Victor laughed. "Even then. Especially then." Sophia carried Maya to the window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Adrian was living his own life. Christine had left him again, for good this time. He was working a regular job, raising his daughter on weekends. diminished but surviving. Sophia felt no satisfaction in his downfall, no lingering anger, just acknowledgement that his choices had led him here, just as hers had led her to this moment. Marcus had never returned to the city. Elena had started her own consulting firm, free from family expectations. Roberto was aging, slowly handing power to the next generation. The DeLuca empire continued, but its grip on Sophia's life had loosened. She'd built her own empire instead, one based on helping rather than controlling, on lifting up rather than pushing down. "Do you ever regret it?" Victor asked. "The fight with the family, the exposure, all of it?" "No, it gave me this. Gave me myself back." Sophia swayed gently with Maya. "I regret the years I lost, but I don't regret waking up. Even though it was hard? Especially because it was hard. Easy doesn't teach you anything." They stood together in the quiet nursery watching their daughter sleep, and Sophia felt complete in a way she never had before. Not because she'd found a man who loved her, though that was part of it. Not because she'd escaped a nightmare, though that mattered too. But because she'd found herself, had clawed her way back from erasure and chosen to keep fighting even when it would have been easier to give up. She'd transformed from victim to survivor to someone who helped other people survive. The invisible woman was gone completely now. In her place stood someone who'd learned that true strength wasn't about never being broken. It was about choosing to put yourself back together differently, better, more honest. Sophia Marcelli? No, Sophia DeLuca now, though she'd kept her own last name professionally, was proof that you could lose yourself completely and still find your way back. That rock bottom could become a foundation, that the worst thing that ever happened to you didn't have to define you forever. She looked at Victor, then at Maya, then out at the city full of women who might be where she'd been 6 years ago. "I want to write a book," she said suddenly. "Tell the whole story, not just mine, but all of ours. Every woman at Haven House has a story. I want them heard." "Then write it. It'll expose a lot. About the family, about Adrian, about everything. So let it. The family survives scandals, and your story, all these stories, they matter more than protecting people who don't deserve protection." Sophia kissed Maya's forehead, feeling her daughter's tiny breath against her neck. "Okay, I'll write it. For her. So she knows where she came from. So she understands that her mother fought to be here. She'll be proud of you. I hope so, but more than that, I hope she's proud of herself. Hope she never needs the kind of fight I had to wage." Victor pulled them both close. "She won't, because she'll have you showing her how to be strong from day one." They stood there as a family, imperfect, complicated, real, and Sophia felt the kind of peace that only comes from choosing yourself over and over until it becomes natural. The nightmare was over, the fog had cleared, and in the sharp, clear light of her new life, Sophia could finally see everything she'd been meant to become. She was no longer the woman who'd been controlled, diminished, nearly destroyed. She was the woman who'd survived it, transcended it, and turned her pain into purpose. She was a mother, a wife, a founder, an advocate. She was flawed and fierce and finally completely free. And that was more than enough. It was everything.